Hi, my name's Jarrett Sullivan, and welcome to Downton Revisited, Season 1, Episode 1. So grab a cup of tea and watch the pilot with me. I had forgotten that the pilot started not with the familiar opening credits, but with a train. Action credits. The first character that we see is Mr. Bates. So you have the train coming in bringing Bates, so that's bringing change. And also we have the telegraph office bringing the telegraph that the Titanic has sank. This is part of the genius of this show. It starts with the drama first and foremost. Usually period pieces don't do this. They start off with no drama, so you show how beautiful and romantic and idyllic it was before, when it wasn't, and then get into the drama. Downton skips that altogether. We learn right away that Lord Grantham's heirs, Misters John and Patrick Crawley, have died on the Titanic. This also serves as a secondary purpose, telling us what year it is. It's 1912, the year the Titanic sank. It's a brilliant way of showing the time without putting it in a subtext below. Another genius part of the pilot is the Steadicam work at the very beginning, going through the house, following the servants, opening up the doors, brushing everything off, the windows, starting the fires. One steady shot flowing through the house. It's great. It shows how busy it is, how much work that these downstairs folks go through versus the relative ease of their employers. Julian Fellowes likes to be cute, and I think he's trying to be clever. Little nods and winks to the period. They've just electrified the house, but the Dowager Countess is worried about the vapors coming from the power and the electricity. Of course, we know better now, but at the time someone may have expressed these problems, kind of for the modern audience to poke fun at the people that lived then. One funny thing with the pilot is that the characters are so set from the beginning. Bates is hardworking and congenial, Anna is charismatic and full of love, Carson is dedicated, and O'Brien is just nasty right from the beginning. You know with the first words out of her mouth that she's the antagonist. Another difference from the series and the pilot is that when we first see Lord Grantham, he's not in country attire. He's wearing his city clothes. Usually he's wearing tweed. He's wearing casual attire, which compared to modern day clothes is still rather dressed up. But it's interesting, throughout the rest of the series we almost always see him either in his country attire or dinner dress, and that's it. And interesting with Robert Lord Grantham, we learned about his character a lot from the beginning, that he is the atypical aristocrat. He cares about the poor devils below decks that couldn't get off the Titanic. Even when Cora expresses her, I hope they let J.J. Astor off, I hope they get the rich off, and she's not heartless about it, but she's a little more typical in that regard. So Robert is our character that is set in the old ways, who isn't going to be able to change. We know this from the beginning. He is, however, made likable and more modern for the audience, so we can connect and feel bad for him when the world starts to change. And the sisters. Mary is set up as strong-willed and combative and almost not likable right from the beginning. Edith, poor Edith, just, the odd one, and even though she's quite lovely on her own. And then Sybil, of course, who, gosh, I miss Sybil. The most modern, the probably most anachronistic of all characters in the show. Gosh, Sybil was great. We love Sybil. Definitely miss Sybil. Something very interesting happens with the way the show is presented. A lot of the drama is done in exposition about the entail and the inheritance and the laws that have to do with that. Why Matthew gets to inherit all that money in the estate for being primogeniture, being male in line, versus Mary. I was very fortunate to see the show on Netflix first. It actually aired on PBS after Netflix had the first season. And apparently there was a different edit, though I can't find it, but they cut out a lot of the discussion about the entail and inheritance for the American audience. It's so much of the plot of the first season, why Mary can't inherit, and can they find a way out of the law, and all these things. It's critical for the first season, and even the second season. They cut it out of the American release. How did you even do that? In the pilot we have Bates having a cane, and people are like, whoa, the cane, how is he supposed to do his job if he can still walk but he has to have a cane. They see him as not able, though Anna, who, of course, because we love her and are supposed to love her, she doesn't see him this way. So it's a very different time. Once again, pointing out the differences of then and now and how it wasn't all great. It's a lot of period pieces do this. It just seemed so wonderful back then. I'm glad that Downton does a fairly good job, even if it's kind of sugar-coated a bit, dealing with the fact that we live in a much better time now. Bates and Anna's relationship is telegraphed right from the pilot. We know right away that they see each other and find each other attractive, so we just wait for them to get together. Carson has some lines as well that are really interesting. The "our family" line, where he's so dedicated to his employers, he sees them as his family. This is his work, and these are the people that he cares about, and he is dedicated to them, and that is very period, but also relatable, and it makes us like Carson because he cares about his job and he cares about the people, and we as the audience care about them. So he cares about these people, we care about the characters, we care about Carson. It helps tie that all in, but also says a lot about his character. Some more anecdotes about Lord Grantham pursuing Cora for her money. She's an American heiress. He needed money to help the estate not go under, so he went to America, married her even though he didn't love her, though he did fall in love with her, and we get to see that. This story might be based on Consuelo Vanderbilt. She's the daughter of Willie Kay. Her mother, Alva, was one of the queens of Newport. Alva arranged Consuelo's marriage to Charles Spencer Churchill. Yes, that Churchill. Consuelo Vanderbilt's dowry was used to restore Blenheim Palace and purchase back a lot of its furnishings and arts that have been sold over the years, trying to maintain the estate. So this is a very real thing that the aristocracy was going through, and so I think Julian Fellowes based Lord Grantham's pursuit of Cora on Charles Spencer Churchill's marrying Consuelo Vanderbilt. Downton does have a problem with how much time is passing. It's the country and it's 100 years ago, so time is much slower. But it's hard to feel that in the show. I don't know how they would really do that without being kind of hacky or too much like wink and nod. So there's like a month that passes between the beginning of the show when the Titanic sinks and when Philip, the Duke of Marlborough, shows up. He's hunting for a rich wife because he needs the money just like Lord Grantham. And Thomas has had a relationship with him, so we learn about Thomas's homosexuality, how that's kept under wraps, how he's trying basically to sort of blackmail Philip, but he's not going to marry Mary because Mary isn't the inheritor of the estate. We see him as the typical aristocrat of the time. He thinks he's better than others. He breaks into Thomas's room. He's sneaking through the quarters. They're your servants. Why are you worried, Mary? He is definitely typical. It's good in the pilot to see someone opposite of Lord Grantham and Lady Grantham and Mary, but even though they are still very aristocratic, they're sympathetic. Philip, the Duke of Marlborough, not so much. Side note, Philip is played by Charlie Cox, who was on Boardwalk Empire, and he's awesome, and then is now on Daredevil on Netflix. This dude is an amazing actor. He's so good. And so the episode wraps up with a letter to Matthew and Mrs. Crawley. So we get to see Matthew. He's getting a letter that he is now the inheritor of this grand estate, and he's being thrown out of his whole world. Multiple seasons worth of drama is set up in the pilot. Come back next time when I go into episode 2 of season 1. If you could give a like, maybe subscribe to my channel, you'll get updates on everything I make, all the things that pop up here. We're going to go through this show. I have some comedy stuff. I do another Disney review show that's going to pop up on the screen. You can link right into Opening the Vault, and you can see me and my lovely Jessica as we go through the world of animation. Leave a comment below. How much do you miss Matthew and Sybil? I know I miss him like crazy. Thanks for watching.